for us to engage in mutually beneficial exchanges. Therefore, let us cooperate. We extend our hand of friendship as we seek symbiotic relations and not just donations. Instead of donations and aid, let us co-create prosperity as we make it easier for countries to pursue their commercial and other interests without hindrance. In the multilateral field, Zimbabwe calls upon international financial institutions, fund managers, or investors to reconsider their previous exclusionary stance in relation to our country. One of the consequences of the descent into pariah status was that economic assistance to Zimbabwe was terminated. Zimbabwe could not service her debts as a result. As Zimbabwe begins to recover, and in particular as Zimbabwe has been a hidden, well-kept African secret product, which is now being unveiled and which has been a lying elephant, it is now awakening, and it is the awakening giant. And as we believe that we are going to be able to meet all our obligations which we are supposed to be maintaining relations with, like various international financial institutions and the Paris Club of the creditor nations. And just this last week in New York, I was with my colleague Minister Chinamasa as he went on to the three meetings of the IMF and World Bank in Washington, D.C. We are committed to engage these key institutions as partners for growth in Zimbabwe once more, committing to clearing the outstanding debt with the World Bank and the African Development Bank, among others, should restore Zimbabwe's fortunes. Ladies and gentlemen, togetherness and re-engagement are incomplete without openness and transparency. Allow me to return to the land issue. I need not to lecture you on the history and character of the relationship between our two countries, which I'm convinced you are familiar with. Particularly Sir Malcolm, I believe that he wrote a postgraduate thesis on land apportionment in Southern Rhodesia. The land issue is the reason why our relations actually became poisoned. Settlement of who is owed what with regard to conversation should put to rest this major historical discomfort in our relations with finality. Engaging each other candidly on this issue is the beginning of the stage for such finality. From our perspective, land reform, though, is irreversible and accomplished. But while recognizing that land reform has indeed been concluded and is indeed irreversible, we are committed to unlearning the wrongs that have had a chilling effect on investment particularly. Former farm owners must be compensated, as government has undertaken to do so within the country's laws. Crucially, the Land Commission must be empowered to conduct a full land audit so that the land reform program benefits all who call Zimbabwe home, without even discrimination of color or creed, but any Zimbabwean who is going to describe himself as a farmer. And in this regard, we are quite optimistic that the interactions which we are having and the discourse which is going on at the moment is going to put this matter to finality. Ladies and gentlemen, let us recall the commitment made by His Excellency President Nagagwa in his inauguration speech. He informed the world that he was taking office to complete the term of the former president he felt obliged to seek a mandate in terms of the constitution of Zimbabwe. And to quote him, the voice of the people is the voice of God. Therefore, as Zimbabwe prepares for the general election in July 2018, we reaffirm our commitment to openness and transparency in the run-up to the and during and after the elections themselves. The government is undertaken to abide by the rules and standards applicable for the holding of free and fair and credible elections. Politically motivated violence, hate speech, and even other forms of electoral malpractices will not be tolerated at all. Only under peaceful conditions can Zimbabwe have meaningful elections which will move the country forward together as a united nation. To underline this commitment, the President has committed to meeting with all political leaders to forswear a code of conduct that there will not be any violence in this year's election, and that we must then be committed to ensuring that we deliver, all of us as Zimbabweans, a free and credible elections for the betterment of the national interests of Zimbabwe. Ladies and gentlemen, by embracing the foregoing practices in its election processes, Zimbabwe is demonstrating political maturity. As a newly reintegrated member of the family of nations, it is obligatory that Zimbabwe demonstrate that it embraces democratic values and practices. Inviting members of the international community, both governmental and non-governmental, to come and observe our election shows that we have nothing to hide at all, and that we are disposed to accepting constructive criticism from others. Even as some relations were fractured in the broader international arena, Zimbabwe continues to be a member of the United Nations and a contributor to peace building and even peacekeeping efforts as required. We are an African country and actually a member of all of its various institutions. Zimbabwe is at peace with its neighbors in a very active and economic viable region, which is called SADC. And it is an active member of the African Union and of the world. There is therefore no contradiction in Zimbabwe's rejoining the Commonwealth. I'm pleased to confirm that we are in the process of re-establishing our membership to this important institution, to which we believe we will once again belong to in due course, as we have an entitlement to be there. We declare that we are committed to the goals of international peace and security. And we want to promote global unity and internationally agreed development goals. And we pledge to continue to be an active member of the family of nations. I affirm once again our unswerving commitment to international institutionalism, both multilateral and even bilateral. It is this, under this particular cause, that whilst we are aiming for this whole objective, we may not be perfect, but we receive and we welcome any constructive response and criticism. If there is 95% of the good, let us not dwell on the 5%, which we may miss. Let us dwell on the 95%, which is good for Zimbabwe. Ladies and gentlemen, in summing up, allow me to reaffirm my conviction that this is a propitious moment for us to put into good use the lessons of our history, of divergent views for the betterment of our two countries, Zimbabwe and the United Kingdom. I am faithful to an agenda set by my principal, President E.D. Mnangagwa, who has asked me to spread the word that Zimbabwe is truly open for business, and it is also open for democracy. My presence here is personally to indicate to you that we are a family again. Zimbabwe is open for business. Zimbabwe is open to friendship. Zimbabwe is open to democracy. And Zimbabwe is open to the world. I thank you.
Well, thank you very, very much indeed, Minister. You covered really all the sectors that we are interested in, the domestic reforms, the economic reforms, and your foreign policy as a country with a new government. So we have just literally just over 30 minutes for question and answer and comments. Could I ask, when you are called upon to ask your question, if you could just briefly introduce yourself, and a microphone will also be provided to make sure that you can be heard. So, yes, the gentleman over here.
Jonathan Lawley, formerly British election supervisor in the independence elections for Zimbabwe, and also director of the Zimbabwe Technical Management Training Trust, which produced the first indigenous mine managers after independence in the new Zimbabwe of 1980 onwards till about 1995. I love Zimbabwe. We were there recently, and it was wonderful to find the atmosphere that we found in Bulawayo. The question I'd like to ask the Minister is, you know, Zimbabwe obviously needs as many skills as it can get. What can the government do to attract Zimbabweans of all colours back into the country to help the new Zimbabwe really lift off and reach its rightful place in the world and in Africa?
Thank you. Minister?
Thank you very much for that question. In fact, 3 days ago, I had an engagement discourse with the diasporian Zimbabweans who are stationed here. And this is one of the issues which we were debating and discussing. And in fact, there is enormous amount of skills, expertise, which is deposited here in the United Kingdom or and elsewhere outside the country. What we have agreed is that we are now going to be establishing what we call a skills database, which is going to be interactive both outside and in each of the countries where Zimbabweans are stationed, and also in Zimbabwe, so that as we reform institutions, as we reform various areas, then it easily transfers to the skills which we are finding out here, even parastatals, even all these issues. It is critical that we must regain the skills which we have here outside and then reintroduce them in Zimbabwe.
Thank you very much. Yes, lady on my right. So microphone coming.
Thank you very much. My name is Hawa Yusuf. I'm a correspondent for the Nigerian TV and radio. Your Excellency, Zimbabwe has been very visibly absent since 2003 during the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, and this year is the same thing, but we're happy to have you here to be able to answer